We are on the first break in the first day of questioning of the undercover police officer, Jim Boyling, who was deployed between the years 1995 and 2000. He infiltrated a number of animal rights and hunt sab groups before focusing on Reclaim the Streets and Earth First. I'm joined by Sheila Freeman and Ben, who was named quite a lot in the first set of questions we've just heard. Jim Boyling is being questioned by David Barr, KC, the senior counsel to the inquiry. He opened up by asking him about the initial conversations he had with his Spike Ops managers and fellow undercover officers about the likelihood of having sex while deployed undercover. He was quite candid. He said that he was well aware that other SDS officers were having sex with activists while undercover before he joined the SDS. He sort of suggested as if it was sort of common knowledge within Special Branch of that, and possibly further afield as well. He referenced the fact that criminal undercover officers were known to have sex with their targets, and it was simply the same sort of situation for the SDS. He was more candid about certain officers than the other. Sheila, what did you make of the evidence?
Hello. Well, I've never been to one of these inquiries yet, but I read about them. It was quite interesting. I had hardly recognized Jim at all because I knew him 30 years ago. And fascinating, actually. Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. You know, the fine detail they're going into. Yeah.
So one of the initial groups that he infiltrated was the East London Animal Rights, which he claimed he had to infiltrate because he was keen to get involved in East London and Essex hunt sabs, and that they don't recruit members of the public, which got quite a laugh from the public gallery. Once we got into talking about the hunt sabs, we saw a number of reports, specific reports about an individual, about Ben. How do you feel about seeing all that's appear on screen?
I'm going to have to be really, really, really careful right now. I'm quite livid. I have a reporting restriction order over my name in relation to something, which I don't want. I asked for it, trying to get the inquiry to give me assurances that this particular issue was going to be addressed. I've covered it extensively in my witness statement, which the inquiry is not going to publish until the end of the hearings. They're not asking me to give evidence. And this particular issue, I was concerned that it wasn't going to be covered. I asked for their assurances that it would be. I asked for this before Christmas, the beginning of December. I didn't get a reply, didn't get a response. So I said, if it's not going to be covered, then I want a reporting restriction order, because my evidence, my statement will not be present and available to people until long after Boyling has given evidence. On the same day that I got a response saying that it would be covered, I also was told that my reporting restriction order had been accepted, which I don't want. I only wanted it if it wasn't going to be discussed. So this morning, it has been discussed, and they cut the feed. And I told them I don't want the reporting restriction order, and they said, tough. Like, it applies. It's too late to remove it. I'm so angry. I don't know what to say. So what can I talk about? The issue of him saying he had to come through East London Animal Rights to get into the hunt sabs, and that the hunt sabs don't recruit from the public. I mean, who else is hunt sabs going to recruit? I didn't go for East London Animal Rights to join East London hunt saboteurs. So nobody did.
He refers to it as a feeder. He suggested that within the SDS there was a sort of like an approach that you wouldn't simply join a group that you were looking to infiltrate. You would join another group and then have some background that you had as an activist. So you could say, "Oh, I've come from this group," so that it wasn't that you were kind of fully formed when you appeared in your target group.
Yeah, which of course is completely backwards. He was tasked to infiltrate the ALF and animal rights in East London. And he does that. He goes to meetings of East London Animal Rights, who he says are all active ALF members, until he says that maybe they haven't been active for quite so long.
Really contradictory, that whole section.
And then he says that he used that as a stepping stone into HuntSabs, whereas the traditional SDS strategy is to use HuntSabs as a way to get into the ALF. He did the opposite, which is quite bizarre. Like, he was in a group which he claims was involved with lab raids, and the thing that we can't associate with my name, and yet he sidesteps into the HuntSabs, again supposedly investigating the thing which can't be associated with my name yet, but later the RRO should be lifted and we can talk about that.
Yeah, sorry if this seems a bit strange, the way that we're talking about it. As people regular watchers may know, we have gotten serious trouble in the past about breaching restriction orders, even though this is a nonsensical one. If you can hear some chatter in the background, there's a lot of lawyers running around about this very issue. Hopefully it'll be easier to talk about when we get to the lunch break. Just more in general, Sheila, what did you make of seeing Jim Boyling there on the stand? Did it relate particularly to the character that you knew while he was deployed undercover?
Well, when I knew of him, I was involved with Reclaim the Streets and the M11 campaign, which was before his time, I guess. And I wasn't really involved with HuntSabs, but we kind of knew them because it's a kind of a fluid society. And so I knew of a lot of them, but I wasn't actually active in HuntSabs. But seeing Jim, well, even when I first heard about how he'd been so involved as a undercover policeman, I was kind of quite shocked because he seemed like a kind of nice fellow. We went out to, in groups, we went out to the pub together, and he was in meetings. He seemed very helpful. He had a van, which was nice. And we always thought we were spied on. It was no secret that we thought we were spied on, but we didn't know who. And there was sometimes people would say, well, it's going to be divisive if you start pointing fingers at people, because there are some people that are a bit strange or something. Oh, they're probably a spy. And it turned out usually they weren't. But he seemed kind of acceptable, So I was kind of quite shocked when I found out that he was undercover police. I hardly recognized him today. He's lost a lot of weight. He's wearing glasses, got a beard. He's barely recognizable from what I remember, which is 30 years ago.
One of the reasons why he claimed that his tasking shifted from just the Animal Liberation Front and on to Reclaim the Streets, which he then claimed he was meant to be doing both, though we get the impression that it really much he concentrates on Reclaim the Streets from then on, was the events of an Islington Reclaim the Streets street party in 95.
That was interesting, his take on that. What happened to the street party? We got together this amazing street party, and it was the second one we'd done, because we'd done one in Camden before that. So the police probably should have been a little more aware, but they weren't, he says. Anyway, what happened was we made the mistake of saying we're finishing at 5 o'clock. Well, this was summer, the sun is shining, it was a hot day, and nobody really wanted to go home, but we, vowed to stop at 5, so we started taking down all the decorations and putting things away. Loads of people still in the street, and some of them started sitting down in the street because they didn't want to leave. Well, the police came out heavy, and there was one young girl who they pushed rather violently, and this got the whole crowd excited and angry. And then immediately the riot police were there with truncheons waving and beating and arrests, and basically the police sort of started it. We didn't start it.
That's a fairly old story, right?
Yeah. I mean, they just over the top. And they closed I didn't know at the time, but they closed the Angel Tube Station. So people just wanted to get out of there, couldn't leave. And they pushed the majority of the crowd all the way down to King's Cross and down a back street, and a lot of arrests and violence. Totally unnecessary. It's been peaceful up to that point.
Yeah. Just quickly to say, there's 56 people watching at the moment. Only one person has liked, two now. Please like this. It does work. I feel so cringe asking. It's appalling. But if you can share this, if you can like it, if you can, encourage other people to watch these broadcasts, it really, really does help. Ben, apart from the stuff that we can't talk about, is there stuff that we can talk about?
Well, there was the document showed in which I am said to be believed to be the person who pulled a huntsman off his horse.
Oh, yes. Did you do it?
No, I don't.
Gutted.
I'm pretty certain that I did not. I have no recollection of such a event, and it's
I think you'd remember.
exactly. It's the kind of event you would remember
And
for
tell
sure.
people about.
But importantly, he doesn't remember
Right. Yeah,
whether
yeah.
he saw this happen, or whether he is reporting hearsay. He doesn't
Yeah.
remember even if he was at the meeting in which it was said that in which it's referring to me being believed responsible. Which, yes, I mean, as evidence goes, I mean, it's a fairly serious assault. I would have thought, pulling a huntsman off a horse. You would have think you would have been arrested for it. In fact,
memorable and quite serious, and something that you would I think you remember seeing as well as doing.
I mean, if I had done it, I would have been boasting about it for years.
I would have fully expected to know, to be perfectly honest.
And another thing that he said was that I can't say that either. No, I can't say that. He referred to how you wouldn't normally be able to get close to hunt terrier men.
Yes.
Actually, we probably can't talk about this. Might be in a period which is under.
Okay, I mean, it is very frustrating. I do apologise to viewers. Hopefully, this might get sorted out, and at lunchtime we can maybe have a more full discussion about this particular topic. It is a ridiculous thing. If you're watching this and thinking, "Well, that's a bit ridiculous," it is ridiculous. I mean, that is the nature of how things run.
Basically, early on, they cut the feed ahead of asking a whole load of stuff which actually isn't under restriction order, and then eventually after that they brought the feed back up, so you missed a whole bunch of stuff that you for no reason, because none of it's actually under restriction order.
I did report it. I mean, I think I got the impression there was a fear that perhaps he would name people.
But then they did.
Yeah.
Then they did do something which go into a line of questioning which was under the restriction order and cut the feed unannounced, which is always the worst way of cutting the feed because it loses a whole bunch of stuff. And at some point they announced the period of time in which the restriction order was broke. So I don't know if within that period of time was the.
It's always hard to know. I mean, I would say that there was a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, we showed. I don't have it in front of me, but we had a Spy Cops bingo card, the Boiling edition. One of the things on there was, I didn't write this report. He went on great length to say, no, it's not. Though it's my intelligence, I didn't write this report. I reported my intelligence to my handler. The handler wrote the report. You should get him here and ask the questions about these reports. I'm not responsible. Which I mean, he said, I can't mark their homework. I mean, he was quite irate about this, and this is something we've heard numerous times from undercover officers, a sort of a belief that just because they're the source doesn't mean that there's anything that's in the report that names them as the source is anywhere reflective of what they said, which, I mean, just makes the whole bloody process.
I must apologize, Tom. Like, the fact that this restriction order is in place is the last thing I wanted, for the very reason it makes it so fucking difficult to talk about things. And it's the same with my statement. I can't speak about my statement because it hasn't been published.
Yep. Things are restarting. We need to go back in. We'll see you again at lunchtime. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.